all the
Hey everybody, it's Thursday. For real this time.
I was gonna tease you about that because on Tuesday started the season of our podcasts that lead up to ultimately the Wisconsin Ice Fishing Expo. But we are always in such the habit of saying Thursday that on Tuesday you did. But it's real Thursday, and that means happy Friday Eve. And we are looking forward to being here. And we always start out with a fishing report, and so I think we're going to do that. But before we jump in too far, I guess give people at home a little heads up. We have our guest for tonight, and I'm not actually sure if he's going to make it. He's with family. So we are still going to be talking about these topics. We're still going to be talking about ice fishing. We're still going to be doing all of this great stuff. And if you have questions or comments or things along the way, drop that in that comment section because we would love to talk about that with you as well.
Yeah.
So do we jump into, I guess we gave a little bit of a fishing report on Tuesday. But I think in case there's anyone new here, we are in the north central Wisconsin. I don't know, the gateway to the North Woods. I always like to think of us as really north, but there's way more north.
Yeah, there's a lot of north.
Yeah. So one of the things that we did find, though, is that the weather is getting colder and that water temperature continues to come down. And the fish went down. They were all the way at the bottom. They were tight to the bottom. But I think some of that is our most recent weather patterns.
Yeah, I think it's just we've gotten into that whole fall windy and fronts moving through kind of stuff, and I think the fish kind of just have had a little bit enough of it, and along with I'm fairly certain around us we've had a really quick transition into turnover, bunch of wind, the temperature dropped like 15 degrees within 5 days, so yeah, it's just a culmination of things. This is one of those times of year, just like springtime, when day to day fishing is going to change. So you just got to change with it. And I think we've done a pretty good job. We went to lake last Sunday, tried our best, went and checked a bunch of different spots. We went and did a little bit of checking of some new spots. Didn't pan out for us. So we took the little time we had left in the afternoon, because, right, we don't have a whole lot of time in the afternoon anymore. Took a couple hours in the afternoon, went and hit a place with a bite that we know has been on, and it was still there, but it was slowed down quite a bit, and it was still the same conditions.
Well, I'm going to say something. I guess this is a good time to bring this up, is because this is one of those years where we've really been putting together pieces of the puzzle, right? And so what happens is sometimes there's lakes that you know nothing about, and sometimes there's lakes that you've been to a bunch of times that you think you figured out at least most of it, right? But one of the things is we have had a hard time at this lake transitioning into winter. And it's always kind of a joke. Where did those fish go? And every time we think that we pinpoint them down, we don't really. At least the pattern isn't there, right? And there had been days in the past where we have been all over that lake and drilled hole after hole after hole after hole after hole and never even marked a fish. But I think that's why I said that this is an important thing, because this time of year, what we saw is those fish that were really suspended and outside, pushing out of those weed edges into that deeper water, they were instead, like I said, tighter to the bottom, and in some cases very tight. The biting ones were a little bit higher up, right? But it took kind of a sharp eye, even with good graphs, to be able to, I guess, see those patterns of fish down there. And I think that's a big key to winter, is that maybe that's just where those fish live, is super tight to the bottom. And
yeah, I think
they could be tough to mark.
Yeah, I think we've talked about this before. This is a lake that's always been, like you said, notoriously tough in the wintertime. And me personally, after fishing it for a number of years now, I think that it's one of those lakes that is either a nighttime or like an early morning and late evening bite, like when things kind of darken up, because because during the summertime, it is kind of a stained up lake, right? It's a little bit, it's not super clear, but it's still kind of a coffee color, but it still has like a little bit of algae and like, it's not like super gross, right? Not anything like that. But I think these fish live predominantly in a stained up environment. And then when all summer, and then when the turnover happens and everything clears up for the wintertime, like I don't think that they're used to that. And so they end up just kind of like hanging out on the bottom and waiting for it to get dark so that they can go out and hunt. And so it's just, just one of those pieces of the puzzle that takes a long time to find that piece, just because that it's just experience, right?
Well, and I laugh though, because we've stayed into dark and those fish weren't there either.
Hmm.
It sounds like an easy answer, but I think that's the thing, is kind of staying on that bite day to day. And
Yep.
I think going in each time kind of with an open mind and learning something, because like we said, those pieces of the puzzle ultimately help clear up that picture either way.
Mm-hmm.
Other things about this time of year, perfect time of year to be looking for those clues. If you still see green weeds, if you know where cribs are, if you know, wherever these things are, start marking those or making those mental maps, right, as we go into ice season. The other thing that I like to take note of is some of my favorite fishing spots that are in like little bays and stuff, like the places that are going to freeze over first. Because we all know that I want to run out to like Pelican Lake and stuff, but that's not going to be the first place that freezes around us. So we're going to see how this all goes. But either way, our guest product have an array of ways to target fish.
Yeah.
So if that's a way to segue into what we're doing
Our
tonight.
guest product. So if you missed the beginning of the show, Andy from FishDaddy couldn't
Awesome
make
guy.
it. Yeah, couldn't make it. He
He's
had
with
a
family.
family emergency, and so we are going to step in for him, and we're going to walk you through some of the products that you'll be able to see at the Wisconsin Ice Fishing Expo. So we're still going to talk about it. If you have questions, we're going to pull up the website. So put the questions in the comments, and we'll go through it with you, because honestly, like we get to talk to Andy for like 5 seconds a show, because his booth is like so busy, probably because it's so blinky and everybody's attracted to it, just like the fish are to his lures.
That's funny. In some cases, what we would have done is maybe rescheduled a guest, but we are actually all booked up because we are so excited about the expo and just all these things.
Yeah.
Bringing all these things to you guys. So I feel like one of the first things that we should do, let's post the website in the comment section. Right. I'm making this hard on Josh. Is that I'm sorry. But then anybody at home, if they want to follow along, that's something that'll be easy for you to do. And as you can see, we have on your screen the website pulled up, and it is a very multi-species. It's all kinds of baits for all kinds of situations. I don't know where I was going. I'm just getting distracted by this crappie here. I'm like, you know when a crappie has a nose like that it's a good one. I know the rest of the fish is cut off, but whoever caught that, I'm sure that was a good one.
All right. Here, if you guys can see this is our buddy Andy. So he kind of came up with this bait. Oh, when was that? 2017. Man, it's been that long already. It's almost coming up on 10 years already that this has been out. So we remember when we first met Andy, it was at the North Metro Show, or what was it called, like the Thorne Brothers thing?
I don't even know.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. He had one bait and everybody was going over there and checking it out. Now he has a big huge booth.
Oh, and that is that the original? Oh no, that's a different one. All kinds of good stuff here, though. And as we can see, open water, ice fishing, all kinds of good stuff. But I think as this show is going to be an ice fishing expo in December, I think he's mostly going to have his ice fishing stuff there. So I think that's a great place to start.
You want to start with ice fishing?
Huh? Well, what do you want to start with?
Well, it says open water right there.
Nope, we're skipping that. If people want open water, they can check that out themselves. I guess, are you using all your open water stuff in ice? I guess you start wherever you want. You're navigating. For people at home, Josh has the mouse, so it always cracks me up. He's the driver here.
Nope. I'm just a chauffeur. You tell me where to go, boss.
Oh gosh.
All right. So first we'll probably start out with the micro LED spoon. So this is pretty reminiscent of a traditional spoon, right? Like most of the things that you've seen. The one thing that makes this different is that it lights up, and it's not a glow stick, right? And so when these are all of these, I believe all of FishDaddy's lures are water sensitive. So once it hits the water, it'll start blinking. You pull it out, and it stops. And so you can kind of read about it. He has a big, huge thing. There's 6 colors. There's 3 sizes: 16th ounce, 1/8 ounce, quarter ounce.
I think that you're right. A lot of them are glow sensitive, but look at how those little the little lights. This one, in this case, what happens is that little glow stick pops out, and then it's a you.
Oh, you're right.
Boop. It's like a push and pull thing. It's like super easy.
Let's
Yeah, and then you can turn that light on at your whenever you want. And then he has different colors if you want to swap them out. Some of the different lures come with different colors. So in this case, you can see. I was going to call it a sunset. Yeah, but look at these. So
if you have and white one.
Well, and so if you have multiple lures, then you also have the option of swapping out those colors, and that's always a fun thing. So if in the daytime, they're biting on the Wonder Bread, but then at night they like a red glow. That's something that you have control of.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a good catch.
No, we've just seen him at the expos, and that's the thing is there's so many different products at his table. And aside from this one, like you're saying, there's a lot of the lures that are water sensitive, and so that light doesn't turn on until you hit the water. That's really nice because you don't forget to turn them off, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is a case where this little glow stick, you do got to take it out, you got to turn it off, but they last quite a while. And like I said, you get these choice of colors, and he always has so many here to choose from. So.
Okay, so this also we're gonna go down a rabbit hole, people. So there's Emily didn't want to talk about open water here, but so you got the little lights here.
Those
right?
Okay, wait. Those are like itty bitty.
Yeah, you got the little
these look
tiny
giant on this picture. No, these
you
are
got
itty
the little
bitty.
tiny lights, right? Okay, and so like she said, you can customize the color and different colors for different applications in the spoon. One thing we talk about here is versatility in products. So something that you can carry over between seasons. These little lights that you get with the spoon, you can also get by themselves. So you can buy all the different colors, but they also go in this jig.
There you go.
So you can use that during open water too. So that you get the jig and have lights for the spoon or vice versa. That's pretty sweet.
This is perfect for a walleye bite.
Look at that. Bluegills like it.
Bluegill. Pike, yep. I'm sure yep. Oh, yeah, there's that walleye.
There's a walleye.
I knew it.
All right. So that's something I think is cool is when you can kind of go back and forth through seasons with your stuff. It's not just sitting in nothing. My ice tackle box is empty right now because I transition all that stuff over into my summer box, and then when in a week, 2 weeks here, I'm gonna be moving all that stuff back over to my ice fishing setup, and we'll be ready to go. So I guess we'll move over to let's do the Dirty Bomb spoon because we're talking about the micro LED spoon. The Dirty Bomb spoon is like the original.
I think that's
right?
the original.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is that water sensitive light that you were talking about.
Yeah, I think this is. So this has 5 color options: blinking red, blue, green, pink, and gold. The LED life is good for an entire weekend of fishing. There you go.
You got to be doing a lot of long fishing because he's going at the expo and they just go for the whole time. Oh, there's a perfect picture. Look at that. See how it's glowing and right inside that mouth.
Yeah. Here you go. So there are 2 probes on the back of the spoon. Clean them with a towel after use, and store a lure in the dry place. So that'll keep your battery lasting longer.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, these things go pretty much forever. Seems like.
It seems, yeah.
But yeah, so the LED will begin blinking when dropped into the water, and then it'll shut off automatically when you're pulled out. So that's pretty awesome. So they have he doesn't have a whole lot of sizes left on the website right now. I'm betting that's because he has them all in his show trailer. But he has 16th, 8th, quarter, 1 ounce, 1/16, 1/4, and 1/8. So a big range of sizes and a few colors. Yeah, these things are pretty sweet. And I think one of my favorite aspects about them is that it really, the thought is like, if you've ever used like a perch eye to fish with, and in some areas of the country you can't do that. We can do that here. And yeah, like it works pretty good. Like we've tried it before. I don't normally keep fish, so that's kind of the thing, is if you're keeping fish. But this is kind of a cool concept where it has that same aesthetic, I guess.
Well, and I think that's why he came up with it. That's something that fishermen are using, and I'm sure we would have to ask him that question, I guess, at the expo. But it was his original product, and people loved it enough that we have continued to grow. And like we said, it is that really cool light. And so if you want to see this in action, because on the website it does kind of look like a very circular bait, right? And I think people at home, it's hard to not judge that, but it has a very nice action in the water. And so the nice thing is, at the expo, at the booth, he has these little tanks set up where you can jig these around. You can see the lights. You can play with, turning them on, turning them off, the blinking, the whatever. And so that's really, really helpful as yourself, as a fisherman, to see what kind of applications you would use those in. No, I think that's perfect. Go back to where you were, because people also then have the option to look at those next things that he's come up with. So if you look at the idea of that dirty bomb, but you like a slightly different presentation, this is still that eyeball, and it actually has 2 eyeballs, right? But it is a little bit of a fishier presentation. It does kind of offset that hook. If you are banging the bottom, this is going to be effective, right? Because you have that weight kind of in the right place. And as you pull up, a lot of times that's when you get a bite, and that is right where that hook is going to be. It does still have that light, like we've been talking about. And all those different options as far as colors. Yeah, that's the thing, is it's a nice bait that you can kind of rip around. And so if you have like crappies that are roaming around flats, this might be a nice bait to rip around. Look at all these.
So that's the bigger one. That's the 1/2 ounce. So the 1/2 ounce is a more traditional like the vibe bait. And then you have the 1/8 and the 3/8, I'm assuming, are that smaller size, like this size.
The other thing that's really nice about it, though, is you can notice in this picture, well, I guess if you're watching on your cell phone, and this is going to be so tiny on your screen, right? But look this up on their website, because it has those 3 different, what do you call them? The hook points, the
attachment points,
the balance points, or you can adjust that balance point is ultimately where I'm going with this, right? And so if you're in a situation where you really want this with that head down and you're banging that bottom, or you want this to sit with that hook back because it's a light tentative bite, those are all things that you can control. And I have to laugh, because I said in the beginning of the show, scoot to ice season, right? But this is a perfect example of something that I would also love to use in some cases in open water, right? And so it is really hard. The line is really blurred, but this is certainly a spoon with some great action that is in that, I was going to say open waters. It's in the ice fishing group. So go back, though, because there was one more bait in the ice fishing section. Oh, there we go. And I don't know, this isn't super new, right? But I know that I've always seen it at his booth. A really nice dropper. It has those lights in it. I always think for perch, but he's got all kinds of fish that he catches on this. And also a really great one to mess around with in that tank, because he always has them out there. So if this is something that you're looking for, yeah, look at all these fish. Now I'm just looking at the fish.
to me, this is this is a perfect application. The perfect application for this is dead sticking, right? This is something you can put a minnow on, put it under your tip up, and
You can see the minnow tail there.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
But the light on there is just the extra attractant, in addition. Hey, look over here. Oh, look at a minnow, and then they eat it. So I think that's a great use for this. Yeah. And it looks like, does that? Yeah, the stick flare.
Yep, the little LEDs, so you can switch out those colors. But I want to say it's a fairly like neutral colored body, so that color there is what makes that big difference. Yeah, there you go.
So you can just screw the top off, drop it in there, and then if you need to switch, swap it out.
Okay, so because we keep blurring the lines between open water and ice season, let's just click, let's just see, because we're at the website already. Let's just click it. Let's just find out and give a glance, because I bet that there's a few of these things that some of these things I know I've seen him bring to these ice expos. So certainly a lot of different plastics. So a lot of people, they just like a fairly traditional, look at that, like a tungsten and a plastic.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of my jig, my jam, my
yeah,
jig.
Your jig.
There you go.
That's your jig.
Let's make that a phrase. No. But there is really a lot of options when you're at this booth. So really a great place to look around, and it's always nice when you're buying plastics to be able to check them out. And I think he always has some options or examples sitting on the table to check out. Hey, that's a really beautiful bluegill. Look at the dots on his head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is cool. So this is one thing that makes these kind of stand out is that I don't want to get this wrong, so I'm going to read it verbatim if I can find it. Okay. So these are made out of biosilicone. So this is what the benefits of being made out of biosilicone are. The softer lure body creates more action in the water, yet it's tougher than standard plastisol. So plastisol is, if you've seen we've done a couple videos of pouring plastics and stuff. That's the stuff that home bait makers and what you'll get in the store. Typical fish plastics, that's plastisol. Comes in different hardnesses. You can arrange it, but the softer it is, the more easy it is to tear. So the silicone is soft, but it doesn't tear as easy. It'll withstand multiple hook penetrations, which is nice. Biosilicone based product is odorless, which maximizes the benefit of terabyte.
So they infuse it with ultimately like the flavor that fish want to eat,
Mm-hmm.
natural bait fish flavors. I've never tested it, right? I've never, I'm nervous, right? But again, that's something that he has out at his table. And the whole thing about this for him is that they are biodegradable. So
yes.
When you have people that are nervous about like fish ingesting that plastic, or let's say it gets nipped off your hook and sits at the bottom of that waterway forever, you're hoping that it's not, I don't know, affecting and littering. But when you have something that's going to ultimately biodegrade, then this is the product that he's created. So
Mm-hmm.
it is a very nice lifelike bait in the water. It has that nice jigging action that you're familiar with a lot of the other bait companies. So kind of nice to see some of those things that you expect out of a bait, but with a nice environmentally friendly package.
Yeah. So the little FishDaddy baller is pretty cool. What is this? The hopper? That looks like something you would use.
It is, because fish would bite that. there's no doubt. I want it in red.
Red.
So, there's no red there. I'm gonna tell him that.
Yeah, you better tell him. Yeah, they got paddle tails for open water. Oh, look at these guys.
But quite a few different
tail.
options. Yeah, no matter what you're fishing for. So if it is panfish, if it is bass, if it is, anything in between, walleyes, I guess there is an option.
Yeah.
You had clicked on open water and we found plastics. I know that's something that he brings at least some of these to the Ice Expo.
Yep.
So that's awesome.
There's the spoons again. So that, like we were saying, like the crossover, so you can find the spoons in open water and in the ice tab. Here's some jigs. So, okay, so this we say this is put under open water, but a lot of times, like you can't really beat just a jig and a minnow. I'll admit that I'm an artificial bait fisherman. Like I suck at keeping bait alive. It can any wax worms to suckers, any of that in between. Like I just don't. I suck at taking care of it. So I just like fishing with plastics and hard baits. But there's a lot of people that will just use their summer jigs with a jig and a minnow just through the ice hole.
Mm-hmm. Well, and we already talked about these jigs in part because you were talking about how they have those glow eyes. Yeah.
Glow eye.
But the other thing that I do think about is this is a perfect thing for those people who are going out and ice camping. Because when you're in a situation where you are out all night, obviously if you're just night fishing, go for it, right? But if you're in a situation where you're ice camping, you're kind of hunkered down, you're hoping that you're on a good spot. You're not always, right? And so sometimes when you need to bring those fish in, this is a really great option. Mm-hmm. And as we can see here, there's a lot of, even that glow dropper you can add to any other bait. So if you already have an existing favorite bait that you want to add that light feature to, this is something that's possible.
Well, and you can put, this dropper chain would work on any of these spoons, just something a little bit different, switch it up a little bit. Look at got a little pike on it, so
just a little pike,
just a little 35 incher.
Whatever, I'd be happy with that fish.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anybody would be.
It looks like they have replacement glows. Oh, they have the bait enhancers, so that's the stuff that they have with the on their soft plastics already. But if you want to add it to the plastics you already have, you can get it from them. That's pretty.
Oh yeah, and they call it slab sauce. I forgot about that.
Oh yeah.
It is also UV glow enhanced. So some people are very insistent that that's something that will help the fish see the bait. And so this is something that's infused into that product design. So that's pretty neat. And
look at Bo's giving away all of his color secrets.
That doesn't happen often. Take note.
Take notes on Bo's color secrets.
The nice thing, though, is that we've also seen quite a few of these lures and stuff, and I'm not pointing to this scent enhancer specifically, right? But we've seen some of these jigs that are potentially out of stock on the website. And I think, honestly, that's just a testament to the fact that people are using these. People are buying these up. And this is...
Well, good morning, guys.
Whoa.
Or usually the time of year where... Oh, yeah, look at that net light. Huh, yep. Interesting. Now I forgot what I was saying.
This is the type of year.
Time of years. I don't know. I can't. Oh yeah, but this is the time of year when people are restocking up their all of their different products and stuff. And so if you're looking for something specific, then make sure you come down to the Expo, because that's where you're going to have everything. They bring all of the different stuff in the different sizes, in the different colors, all of that. So especially if you're looking for specific stuff, come on down.
Hey Corey, it's been a while.
Yeah, good to see you.
Speaking
Corey, wait, he's asking if we're going to the Dakota Angler Ice Institute, and we have to be. Yeah, we're honestly so sad. My work schedule is not allowing for that this year, and so it just is what it is. And so we honestly really miss that show. Yeah, it's a really great show. And the nice thing is people from, dare I say, that side of the country. Here's why I say that, though, is because I know South Dakota, it's a hike from Wisconsin, right? Yeah. But people come to that expo all the way from way farther west than that. There's people who
Idaho,
make huge
Washington,
drives, to come to that expo. So I feel like, it's so great to have these different opportunities for these different anglers to get out there, to find these products, to talk about these things. And I guess that's ultimately my favorite part, is to just chat fishing with people. You never know what you're going to learn or who you're going to talk to. And I think that's one of our favorite things is that learning and that talking to people along the way.
Well, and if you find yourself at one of those expos, go say hi to Corey at the Macula booth because he has some cool stuff, and he has that giant jig that he has.
Yeah, that
and
is always that cracks me
it's
up.
pretty awesome.
So you almost distracted me because you're scrolling through the website. But the nice thing, the nice thing is there's lots of fun stuff to look at. And so if you're an angler, just lots of fun little gifts and stuff. And so if you're looking to build a Christmas list or whatever, this is a great place to do that. Oh yeah, I got distracted by the net light. Click on that. I'm interested. We've been to this expo quite a few times, and I've honestly never looked that close to this. I wonder if this is a new product or just always missed it. That is the curse of the expo. Sometimes
you miss
sometimes
stuff. That's why you have to go back.
Yeah.
That's why you have to go back, or at least go there a couple times in the one weekend, because you're never gonna. It doesn't matter what expo you're at, but you're gonna miss something.
Huh.
Hey, Jack.
Well, and not to keep hammering on this net light, but the reason I like this is because if you're going to be night fishing, you're laughing at me. If you're going to be night fishing, though, you don't want to. I can't see at night.
Do you guys remember when we were going to talk about ice fishing only? Because
Oh
we're past open water.
Yeah, you're right. Oh my gosh, I don't know if he'll have this at the ice expo. That's a good point.
That's funny.
But he might.
That's funny.
That's a good stocking stuffer.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Andy, if you catch this after you're done, Emily says bring the net light because it's a good stocking stuffer.
I'm sure it's already packed. Like I said, he's always got a pretty big booth. He's always got lots of stuff around. And so that's always fun. Jack only goes ice fishing. Oh, well, welcome back.
Welcome back. All right, guys. Well, I wish Andy could have been here with us, but that stuff happens. So
I guess with that, like if anybody just wants to chat ice fishing, throw a few comments in or whatever. But otherwise, I think that's mostly what we had planned for this evening. As we go through the entire month of November, we are going to be here Tuesdays and Thursdays. Both days at 7 p.m. And we're going to be talking about all kinds of different products and people and things and stuff that you are going to find at the expo. Actually, is Don one of them? Just to talk about the expo? No,
Don is too busy. Don can't grace us with his presence this year. He has too much on his plate. We keep that guy busy, and he finds that he like magically makes everything so organized, and he makes those shows like, and he doesn't need us bothering him.
You're not wrong. I'm excited because as far as somebody who has been to this expo, it's seen growth every single year, right? And I think even this year, when I say I think, I mean I know that this year there even is growth again. And so it's still at that EAA grounds, but there is two buildings that we are going to be using, and food trucks and all kinds of good stuff. So it's going to be a really great time. And for people who were there last year, I want to say the first 20 minutes of parking right last year was like, they were still figuring it out, but every single person who got in after that, it was a pleasant experience. There's buses. So if you have to park in a back lot somewhere, there is transportation. To bring you right up to the building.
I just love that so much. And I know we're going to do it again this year. But last year, when we were like going through and showing you guys kind of what was going on at the EAA grounds, one of my favorite videos we did is we took the bus from the door out to the parking lot. We picked up people and brought them back to the door. And the cool thing about that is when we got back to the door, you just bring all the stuff that you bought from the expo onto the bus, and it drives you right to your car. Like it goes to each lot individual.
Drop off.
So like you barely have to walk with your armfuls of stuff. It's awesome. There's like little kids carrying around
stuff.
There's like little kids
for this expo is maybe not that.
There's like little kids carrying giant augers, and they just hop on the bus. It was awesome.
I did see that.
Yeah.
Some chatting going on in the comments. Jack's asking if he can get a media pass. I'm going to be honest, I don't know if that's offered. So check out the website.
Yeah, you might need the message.
Email them, and they'll let you know. Corey's asking, I wonder if people are getting burned out with YouTubers and getting back to the basics of chatting with vendors. Corey, I will be honest, there is a lot of YouTubers these days, and I don't say that as a bad thing. I think that's a great thing because this is a great sport. And I think people just love to share that. But I think that you're right, that people love the conversation of it, right? YouTube, we like to chat with you, and this usually can go both ways, right? But I think sometimes it's always it can be difficult, right? And so when you can be at an expo, when you can hold a product in your hand, when you can, imagine that application to your fishing style, when you can talk to the person who created it, I think that there is just so much. I was going to say there's so much value in that. That sounds so dumb. It's just fun. It just is so fun, right? To go and share that passion and see other people with passion. And that's why we talk about this, is it gets people psyched for ice fishing.
Well, and I think here's the deal with expos is that if you like remember the first time that you were at an expo, I'd almost guarantee it wasn't when you were an adult. If it was, I'm sorry, your childhood probably sucked. But
you can't say that.
but seriously, like as a kid, when you go there, you get to see all the stuff. There's so many blinking lights and shiny things and this and that, and we get to leave with like a lure, and like it's like kid in a candy store. But I think that instills like this. You get exposed to that energy. Emily and I talk a lot about expo energy and how every time you walk into an expo, you know that almost every single person in that building paid to get in there to look at fishing stuff. So you could like talk to anybody in that building about fishing. Like you can't do that anywhere else. Not even Cabela's, because some of them are there for hunting. Some of them are there just to get fancy clothes to look like they're fishing or hunting. At the fishing expo, they're there to go fishing. And so that's so exciting when that feeling, and you can go back every year and you know that it's going to be that exciting. That's why I love it. That's why I love it.
You know why I love it is because you can also go and have the opposite experience. And if you are the kind of person who isn't people-y and you just want to check things out from afar, maybe see the things that you've seen online, you don't have to have those conversations either. Because it is a friendly place, you find that people aren't like in your face, right? And so if you want to go and you want to, just enjoy some of the seminars, enjoy some of the food, gawk around, window shop. Sometimes that's what I do. And even with that, we will still be walking around and we'll have the giveaway gang there. And it doesn't require a purchase or anything to be eligible. So like we said, just for being at the expo, you may be a winner. And I have to say, I'm not sure if FishDaddy is one of the sponsors for the giveaway gang this year or not.
Don't know.
But there is always a lot of really great stuff.
So much
you
good
never
stuff.
know, you could be our next winner.
Yep.
Jack is saying he missed last year. No worries. There is another year to come. So we'll see you this year. And lots of other good comments here and conversation going on. So the nice thing about this is that even once we are done here, there's a lot of different conversation to still come. So like we said, we're here Tuesdays, we're here Thursdays, we're going to talk about all kinds of good stuff. And if you have questions or comments or things, keep that conversation going in that comment section.
Yep.
And with that, we'll see you on next week's edition of The Night Bite.
Night, everybody.